We're doing the answers to Tech Math, Grade 10, Test 2, Term 2. We're going to be answering 1.1.1. The question reads Factorize. Do you see anything common in 111? Do you see a common factor of 2? We are going to remove a common factor of 2 from the first and second term. If we look, we now have the difference of squares. We have x squared minus 16. Square root the first term, square root the second term. One bracket will be negative, the other bracket will be positive. Square root the first term, we get x and x. Square root the second term, we get 4 and 4. Right, that is completely factorized. 3 marks. We're going to factorize 1, 1, 2. When we see 4 terms, we think of grouping. We might need to rearrange these 4 terms in 1, 1, 2 in such a way that we can get a common factor in the first 2, a common factor in the second 2. Look at it carefully and see if you can find a common factor in the first 2 and a common factor in the second 2. If we look nicely, we can see in the first 2 terms, that is the ones with the red, 2a is common. So remove 2a. 2a times 3a will give me 6a squared, and 2a times 1 will give me 2a. Correct. Remove a negative b from the next 2 terms. If we multiply minus b times 3a, we will get negative 3ab. If we multiply minus b times 1, we will get negative b. Do you see anything else that is common? 3a plus 1 is common. Remove 3a plus 1, what is left? 2a minus b. The question 1.2 says simplify. So we need to simplify that. We can use a distributive property, x times all of the second bracket minus 1 times all of the second bracket. If you multiply all that out, if you multiply all this out, you find it will become the perfect cube. And when we factorize those cubes, this would be the answer. So practically you can cube the first term, cube the last term, different sign in between. So we remember we square the first term. So if we look at the first bracket, we square the first term, we square the last term. That is perfectly what's happening in the bracket on the right hand side. Then we multiply the first term and the second term with the different sign in between. So x times 1 will give me 1x, and then with the different sign in between will be plus. Notice it was a negative, it now becomes plus, and so that will give us plus x in the center. That is exactly the same. So therefore the answer will be cube the first term, cube the last term, and the opposite sign in the center. Right, we notice that's the opposite sign in the center. So x cubed minus 1, if I were to factorize it, will be exactly that there. Right, so you might be confused after all of this. How about you multiply it all out and see if you can get that answer, x cubed minus 1. X times x squared will give us x cubed. X times x will give us positive x squared. X times 1 will give us plus x. Minus 1 times x squared will give us minus x squared. Minus 1 times x will give us minus x. Minus 1 times a positive 1 will give us minus 1. Do you see any like terms there? Notice they have the opposite signs. One is plus, one is minus, one is plus, one is minus. They will cancel each other out. You'll have x cubed minus 1. Next, we're going to simplify a fraction, 1 to 2. Remember never to cancel the x's when you are adding and subtracting. First thing to do with these fractions is to factorize. So we can factorize all those denominators. First we'll factorize the trinomial on the left hand side, x squared minus x minus 6. We need to look at factors of 6. Right, the factors of 6 are 6 times 1, 3 times 2. Which two factors can result in a minus 1? Our goal is to use the factors to try and get to a minus 1. Which two factors, 6 and 1 or 3 and 2, can give you a minus 1? Don't forget that the negative in front of the 6 means different signs. So because we need minus 1, our numbers will have to be minus 3 plus 2. Minus 3 plus 2 will give us minus 1. Therefore, our factors are x minus 3, x plus 2. Next, we're going to factorize the term right on the right hand side, 2x plus 4. If we look there nicely, we see a common factor of 2. Remove the 2. If we remove 2, we have x. Remove 2 from the 4. 4 divided by 2 is plus 2. Right, and now we are trying to add all of this up. But we need to first find the LCD to bring all these fractions to a common ground. At this moment, they all have different denominators. We need to find the common denominator. But please note, on the right hand side, we have 2 over 2. We know that 2 over 2 equals 1, so those 2's are going to cancel each other. You're going to have 1 over x plus 2. Now we're going to find the LCD. The LCD will be x minus 3, x plus 2 will be the LCD. X plus 7 is the numerator, minus 3. Please note that in the sum it is x minus 3, not x plus 3. I made a mistake. Okay, it is x minus 3. Note the arrows, x minus 3. Right, so if we have x minus 3, which one don't we have in the denominator here? Notice in that denominator we have x minus 3. The one we don't have is x plus 2. We will multiply the numerators by all the denominators that we don't have. So if you look at it, the next one we have x plus 2. Which one don't we have? We don't have x minus 3. We do have x plus 2. So we'll multiply the numerator by the one we don't have, which is x minus 3. Notice if we block x minus 3, nothing has changed. We still have 1 over x plus 2. If we block x plus 2 for the middle term, nothing has changed. We still have 3 over x minus 3. So this is how it works. All you have to do is block to see that nothing has changed. If we go to the first term, nothing has changed with the first term. We still have x plus 7 over the original LCD. So all you have to do, whatever's in the denominator, if you don't have it, you multiply the numerator by what you don't have. Simple like that. We're then going to multiply our middle term. Minus 3 times x will give us minus 3x. Minus 3 times 2 will give us minus 6. And 1 times that whole bracket will give us exactly the same. Just remember, with these fractions, whenever you see a negative, don't forget to place brackets, because the negative must carry to the second term. Try and simplify that and see if you can get the answer. Using the like terms on the top in the numerator, simplify by consolidating the like terms. Right, so minus 3 plus 1 will give us minus x. Now looking at the numbers, we got 7 minus 6 minus 3. So 7 minus 9 is minus 2. That is the final answer. Next we're going to go to exponents 1, 3, 3. Right, so the exponents, don't forget we need to break them down into prime numbers and place brackets, and then do distributive property in the exponents. Right, so we can break down that 4 to 2 squared. We can break down that 9 to 3 squared. Notice with the 6, we can't break it down into anything squared or cubed or whatever. We'll have to think of two numbers that can give us 6. Two numbers that are both prime numbers. How about 2 and 3? We will now do distributive property in the exponents. In the numerator, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 2 times 1 is 2. Right, now we got 3 to the 2. All we have to multiply is 2 times x. 2 times x is 2x. Now we're going to apply the exponent law. That 2x to the minus 1 will be applied to the 2 and to the 3. Right, now for Simplifying it, we're going to write down the prime numbers that we see. All the ones on the top will remain positive, and the ones at the bottom will flip the signs. The exponents in the numerator remain positive, and the ones in the denominator will be negative. This means we'll need to flip the signs of the ones in the denominator. So here we got a plus 2x minus 1. It will become minus 2x plus 1. With the 3, notice it's a plus 2x. It's in the numerator. It will remain plus 2x. Notice the denominator is positive 2x. It will now change to a minus 2x. And that is a minus 1. It will now become a plus 1. For the denominators, we will always change the signs. Alright, now you can simplify the exponents that are there by doing like terms and get your final answer. Plus 2x minus 2x will result in 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. And now we got the 3's. 2x minus 2x will give us 0. And we left the 3 to the 1. The answer 2 to the 3 on our calculator will give us 8. Times 3 will give us 24. And so that's our final answer. We're going to go to 1.4, where we have to make a subject of the formula. We are going to take u squared over. So we get v squared minus u squared is equal to, right? And now we're going to remove the 2 and the s on both sides. The 2 will cancel the 2, the s will cancel the s. Making a subject of the formula, a is equal to v squared minus u squared over 2s. The rest of the questions I will send at a later stage. Work on these for now, do them over and over until you master them. All the best.